if he thinks Erling Haaland is the best striker in the world, you know, he hasn't heard of Hugo Ekitike, has he? I mean, he's stood right in his way, isn't he? And their favourite thing in the world to do is play offside. Right, hello everybody, welcome back to the Golden Sky. I'm Tom, and today it is the match preview for Liverpool against Man City on Sunday. Another big game. Today we're going to go through everything you need to know ahead of the match, so let's get right into it with the predicted lineups. Okay, so as always then, starting off with Liverpool's predicted lineup, I've got Alisson in the goal, Szoboszlai at right back, Konate at centre back with Van Dijk, Kirkaz at left back. In the middle, I've got McAllister and Gravenberch with Wirtz just ahead of those two, with Salah on the right, Gakpo on the left, and Hugo Ekitike up front. It's an unchanged side from the side that beat Newcastle so convincingly last time out. On Hugo Ekitike, by the way, I will just update you all once again. We have a date for the hair dye, as promised. Next Thursday will be Judgment Day for me. I will be going blonde. If you are new to the channel, I lost a bet with the viewers here. A like bet. They hit the like target for me to dye my hair like Hugo Ekitike. So if you want to see that, tune in for any videos following next Thursday when I will have bleach blonde hair. It is booked. It is ready. I've had a bleach test on my skin to check it doesn't react. We're good to go, guys. Tune in for that. The preview next Friday will probably be the first appearance, so it is booked. But yes, this is Liverpool's team, unchanged, like I said, coming off the back of a big win against Newcastle, but also against Karabag, 10-1 in our last two games. Now, you can say, sure, one of them's against Karabag, but they did qualify, at least for the playoff round of the Champions League, so they're not totally awful. And considering the results we have had this season against the likes of Burnley, at Anfield especially, we'll take these happy times winning the last two 10-1 on aggregate. We'll take that all day long this season. And that's why I think Arne Slot names an unchanged side. But not just because of that, because we don't really have many other options that I think would realistically ever be considered to start in this game. The only other one would be Curtis Jones. But first of all, I don't think he'll start just anyway. But second of all, there were some interesting comments in Slot's presser that seemed to indicate that basically if we'd have got the right amount for him, he'd have gone in January to Inter Milan. It seems pretty clear right now that the club and him are far apart on a contract. And going into next season, he'll have 1 year left. So it could be that the club are thinking, well, maybe we're going to cash in and not have a Trent situation or a Konate situation here on our hands once again. But not that I think that's directly linked to him not starting, but it just indicates to me kind of where he is in the pecking order, which is a bit of a shame because I think he's been pretty good this season, to be honest. Probably our second best midfielder, in all honesty, over the course of the season. But there we go. And that doesn't count Wirtz, by the way. That's behind Szoboszlai. Wirtz is more of an attacker. Gomez not available for this game, surprise, surprise, or at least not available to start, I should say. He apparently is available for parts, so Szoboszlai will keep his place at right back, although I don't necessarily think that is the worst idea in this game. We'll talk about that in a second. So this is the only realistic 11 that I see starting this one. I guess you can have a little think of the shape, but I think it's pretty obvious when you play Salah and you play Gakpo, it's going to be some form of a 4-3-3. You're not going to see much of a diamond. You're not going to see much of a 4-4-2. It's going to be a 4-3-3 as we've seen recently, likely with McAllister being the deepest at times, sort of something resembling this when we have the ball. So what did we do well against Newcastle before we get into talking about City? Let's talk about us for a second and what we did well against Newcastle and how maybe we can use that to our advantage against a team like Man City. And I think what we did well, that I talked about this in the tactics video. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch it. That came out on Monday. I talked about how we attacked much more directly with a lot more fluidity in our play as well. There was less like real forced, rigid build-up that went really slowly from the back to the front. It was taking advantage of transitions, attacking with a bit more purpose, a bit more freedom, I think, is the right terms to use. We use the transitions, like I said, we scored a goal on the transition. Ekitike's amazing second goal, for example. Even Wirtz's goal was a bit of a transition. And not only that, but we've also started to get Wirtz and Ekitike just on the ball more. And I think that is a direct reason as to why we've been looking better recently. Like, there was a period earlier in the season where our striker, whether it was Isak or Ekitike, could not get the ball. Ekitike's been getting on it lots and lots recently. I think he's getting fitter. As we know, we talked lots, and people in the media are now starting to talk and wax lyrical about how Wirtz is getting better and has been playing much better and how he needed time to settle in. It's amazing how a narrative shifts. Now it's like, oh, he needed time to settle in. We've got to let him settle in. When at the time it was like, rah, 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 he's the worst signing ever. It's amazing how the media is like that. But I thought what would be quite fun is I asked ChatGPT for some duo names for Wirtz and Ekitike. So I'll give you 5. Here's what it came up with. I didn't give it any more info. I just said, give me a duo nickname for Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike. So let me spit out at you what it spat out at me, and you can maybe rate these or whatever. Number 1, Flogo. These are bad. Let me preface that. These are shocking. Flogo was the first one. It rhymes, at least it rhymes, but it's not great. It sounds like a yogurt to me. Like, oh, I'm gonna go have a Flogo. So that's number 1. Number 2, Wiki Attack. I'm being deadly serious. That's what it threw out at me. It's obviously used the WI of Wirtz's name and part of Ekitike's name to form Wiki Attack. It's shocking, but it's almost so bad it's good. Like, it just sounds like Wikipedia. Okay, moving on. Then it hit me with this one. This one's a bit long. The Flow Show and Hugo Boss. Now, Hugo Boss in isolation is an amazing nickname for Ekitike. It works on so many levels. It's like using the Scouse term boss, obviously the clothing line. He is boss. It's a brand. Like, it works perfectly. It's like a triple entendre. But the Flow Show and Hugo Boss, it's just, come on, ChatGPT. And then, in fact, I've only got 4. I've only got 4 because the next one is my personal favourite. The Eki Flow Express. Now, this one is so awful that it actually, in my head, is quite funny. The Eki Flow Express. Like, just imagine you unlucky City, you've been ran over by the Eki Flow Express. It's kind of works. At least in my mind it does. Maybe I'm the only one who'll find that funny, but there we go. We're still working on that. We're still workshopping. So if anyone's clever in the comments, feel free to drop something in for what we can maybe call them as a duo. And one other reason why we're doing better recently, and it showed against Newcastle as well and against Karabag, is that our set piece data is actually improving. I'm going to flash something up on the screen now to show our attacking data from set pieces is actually climbing the ranks. We were dead bottom for a while there. We're now climbing up slowly but surely. Things are improving on that front, and it's weird that it took us to sack our set piece coach, who wasn't our set piece coach, to actually start to see some improvement in that regard. Now, we've also only lost 1 of our last 22 home Prem games against City, which surprised me when I read this, and this stat surprised me even more. We actually haven't had City do the double over us since 1936-37. That's a long, long time. So if we lose this game, they have obviously done the double over us. That'll be the first time in almost 90 years. They're pretty incredible stuff. Now, how do we stop them doing that? Well, City, as we know, we'll get them on the board in a second, are very, very strong in wide areas. And last time, the way they beat us was isolating the fullbacks 1v1. This was Doku, and they just destroyed us 1v1. This was Bradley in the reverse fixture. He was just going round Bradley every single time, causing havoc. I'm going to show you some clips of that game later in the video, so look out for that. But these 1v1 battles are going to be key. It's going to be Szoboszlai against, I'll spoiler alert it, this is going to be Semenyo, and this is going to be Shirky. So Kirkaz against Shirky and Szoboszlai against Semenyo. This is a real physical battle over on this left-hand side. And on, for City, sorry, the left-hand side, right-hand side for us. And on the left-hand side for us, Kirkaz against Shirky. That's a really, really interesting one. Shirky's data is unbelievable, by the way, like absolutely unbelievable. And he is an amazing player. Very, very silky. Actually reminds me a little bit of Eden Hazard in how silky he looks on the ball. Doesn't quite play the same, but just that smoothness he has. Kirkaz is like a raging pitbull, Tasmanian devil, maniac type person. So it's going to be interesting to see those two go up against each other. But I think where City do lack a bit of strength is actually the legs in the team. We'll get them on the board in a second. This will become more obvious, but I think the midfield and generally the players that will play in this game for City lack a bit of pace, maybe a little bit of running power, and that shows in City stats. We'll talk about more in a second. Last time out, obviously we were destroyed against City. We had that phantom Doku performance. He's only scored 1 goal this entire season in the Premier League, and that was, of course, the one against us that he curled in from 25 yards out, no problem. He's an absolute myth every other time, to be honest. Obviously, I don't think he's a bad player, but I think that game was a complete mirage, complete fake news. It's his only goal all season, and he ripped us to shreds that day. So our defensive shape is key. We didn't get it right at all in the reverse fixture. It's going to be interesting to see how we do it in this game. So we could do it in a couple of ways. We could go 4-4-2, and that would look like this. It would be probably Wirtz coming out here with Salah tucking in on the right-hand side, with Gakpo coming in and standing next to Ekitike as part of a 4-4-2. Or it could be Gakpo out on the left with Wirtz here with Ekitike. I prefer, I think, unbelievably, Wirtz out here because Wirtz actually does a better job of defending than Gakpo does. Didn't expect that at the start of the season, but there we go. Or we might see what we've been doing a little bit more recently, especially games when we play a diamond, we do this, where Gravenberch goes right into the centre-back position, often following the attacking midfielder, and then we get really narrow. It'd probably be something that looked, I don't know, maybe like this. I just don't think it really works with the personnel we've got on the pitch there. We defended in a bit of a 5-3-2. Now, we've done this in a diamond because we can pack this midfield three with centre midfielders like Szoboszlai, with McAllister, Wirtz, Jones. We can really pack it. But with Gakpo acting as one, McAllister and Wirtz, it's not really a strong three, that is it, against City's really tricky midfielders. So let's get City on the board. We're going to look at some stats for them, talk about their team, and look at some clips later in the video. So let's start with their predicted 11. All right, so City then, this is my predicted lineup for them. I've got Donnarumma in the goal with Mateus Nunes at right back. Ruben Dias coming back into the side at centre back with Mark Guehi partnering him. O'Reilly at left back. Midfield three of Rodri, Nico Gonzalez and Tijani Reinders. And the front three, like I've already mentioned, Semenyo on the left, Shirky on the right and Erling Haaland up front. It's a great team. There's no getting around that, guys. It's a fantastic team. And let me just list some of the players that aren't starting here for Man City, and you'll see how ridiculous their squad actually is. Bernardo Silva is a doubt for this game. I think that would be big for us if he's not available at all. Whether he starts or he's on the bench, he is a key cog to this City team and always plays well. Pretty much every game, to be honest. Doku is out, Stones is out, Gvardiol is out, Kovacic is out, Savinho is out. They're all definitely injured, except Bernardo, he might play. Now, who could play in this game, but I don't predict they will? Omar Marmoush, sorry. Phil Foden, Kusanov, Ait Nouri, Rico Lewis, and a Golden Sky hated on the list. I don't even know how to describe him. Villain. A Golden Sky villain. Nathan Ake. One of my most hated players. I hate that guy so much. They're all available for selection. And when I read you those players there, how many have I just read? At least 20 players that are just top players. All available, or some injured at least, but all in City's squad. Their squad is unbelievable. Pep was in his press conference saying there's some doubt that Haaland might. He said, I don't know if he'll start. But when he was asked the question, he just kept saying Haaland is the best striker in the world. That was all he said. So he was trying to be a bit coy. Haaland's obviously going to start. I don't think any of us would fall for the oil guzzlers games anymore. And he clearly, if he thinks Erling Haaland is the best striker in the world, he hasn't heard of Hugo Ekitike, has he? Wait till Hugo welcomes into Notre Dame Cathedral on the weekend. It's going to be beautiful when Ekitike introduces him there and shows Pep Guardiola who the real best striker in the world is, my friend. I'm going to look like him soon. My God. It's all I can think about every time I talk about Ekitike. But City did play in midweek, so that could be a factor. They played, obviously, the Cup semi-final against Newcastle. Now, Haaland, Rodri, and Shirky only played 20 minutes. Three of City's biggest players, you would say there, only played 20 minutes. The likes of Foden played 70 or so. I have gone with Reinders ahead of Foden. I think if Foden was to play, it would be Reinders that drops out of the team. But this is what I've gone with. Now, could be a factor, obviously, that they had that game in midweek. Gehi didn't play at all. I don't think it will really play into it, but City have looked leggy at times this season. I mean, at Spurs in the last Prem game, obviously it was a tale of two halves. It looked leggy in the second half for me. And against Newcastle, even though they only conceded one goal in the second half and the tie was basically done, they could have conceded a lot more. They were lucky not to. And this seems to be a bit of a trend for City in 2026. They are the only side to not concede a Prem goal in the first half of a game. They've scored 6, conceded none in the Premier League in 2026. They are flying, to be honest, in the opening moments of a game. They come out the traps hot. But in the second half, it's a total opposite story. They've not scored a goal and they've actually conceded 6 in the second half of games. So does that mean there's a trend here where City are fading in games, and why is that? Or is that a lapse of concentration? Is that just a coincidence? Will it continue? Who knows? But it's certainly something to point out in this game. Haaland as well has only scored 1 goal in the Premier League in 2026. That for him is a huge goal drought. He's actually also only scored, well, I say only, he's never scored a Premier League goal at Anfield in his time at City. He did score once for RB Salzburg when we beat them 4-3 in the Champions League at Anfield, but never scored at Anfield in the Premier League. So the only other Prem ground he hasn't scored at is Sunderland's. So certainly a little bit of something to keep an eye on there. And City in general have been on a bit of a bad run, really. In the last 6 in the Prem, they only have 1 win. 4 draws in that period and 1 defeat. So 7 points out of a possible 18 available. They could have been well ahead of Arsenal. They are 6 points behind them going into the weekend. And Arsenal will be hoping, obviously, that we get the victory over City here. Something else about City before I talk about some stats is just look out for this in the game. Man City absolutely love to play offside. I mean, if I put City in an attacking position, they love to press high, and their favourite thing in the world to do is play offside. You'll see it in a clip in a second when I show you that part of the video, but you will see all game long, City will be really high, maybe not quite that high, especially if we have the ball. But they will go pretty much no further back than this when we're on the ball, and the defenders will constantly be pushing themselves up, nudging, stealing yards wherever they can, trying to nick yards. You'd imagine we'd have Ekitike, Gakpo and Salah right up against this back line. We've got to try and get Wirtz on the ball and get him to play defence splitting passes over the top or in behind any way he can. They love playing offside, so look out for that. But they are very, very good. Obviously, as we know, City, they are first in goals per game this season in the Prem, second in possession behind the mighty Reds, who love the ball more than anyone else. Second in XG, first in big chances, third in shots on target. As you'd expect, they're one of the best attacking sides in the league, if not the best. First in accurate passes, so despite us having more possession, City more accurate in their possession. Second in possession won in the final third. They press really, really well. This has been a hallmark of Guardiola's teams for a long time. They are first in touches in the opposition box and third in XG conceded, so they don't give up that many chances either. They are an elite team. We know this. This isn't new news to anybody playing Man City. You're going to be in for a big test. So let's look at some clips of both our game earlier in the season against Man City, just for fun, to be honest, and then a few from City's game against Spurs, and I'll just talk through my thoughts on those. Let's go and do that. Alright, so we're going to just take a little quick recap look here at Liverpool's game earlier in the season against Man City when things were just not going well for us at all. I mean, number one thing you should look at here is we've got Florian Wirtz playing left wing. That's an absolute no-no, and thankfully something we've not seen in a long time. This was a disaster. I kept saying it over and over again. Don't know why we kept doing it. We've got Robbo playing left back. It was just really bad, and if you've forgotten how bad it was, just watch this. So Doku's got the ball, he's one-on-one, he tries to go around Bradley, and Bradley deals with it. It's under control. There's no way Doku can get this ball. But hang on a minute, here comes full Rhino Kanate, just charging in like a rhino loose in a cage. And next thing you know, Bradley has been rhino charged and he's on the ground. He's been full horned. No one knows why Canate came over and somehow Doku's got the ball. Does everyone remember this? It's bringing back good memories. Next thing, now Doku's on the floor. He's been full rhinoed by Marmadashvili now. Bradley's still sat down. McAllister's on the ground. We've got players on the line. It's just a complete calamity. Shirky tries to have a shot. It actually hits Doku, who's now just lying on the floor. It's just madness. And obviously, they then get the penalty. They missed it. But things carried on in the game. And City did soon break the deadlock with this goal, which is, again, just a laughable goal to concede. No pressure on the ball out wide. Mateus Nunes has enough time to line up his cross a second time, which he does. Again, we've got Wirtz playing left wing and Robbo playing left back. God knows, God only knows what Slot was thinking with this one. The ball comes in. Konate actually heads this one, but heads it directly onto Erling Haaland's big giant bounce, and he somehow deflects the ball right into the corner. It's dead lucky. He even knows it's lucky because he barely even reacts once the ball's gone and dropped right into the corner. Szoboszlai summing it up. He can't believe what he's seeing. It's just laughable. It was real calamity football at this stage, and to be honest, it has been for a lot of this season. It doesn't get more calamitous than this. Who remembers this little chestnut? Van Dijk's header. And Robbo, of course, being the absolute egregious criminal that he is, standing right in Donnarumma's eye line. I mean, how could he possibly have saved this one with Robbo doing such a major offence here? Stood right in his way, isn't he? Look at how this just goes straight through Robbo. Everyone else's eyes curve, don't they, when you look forwards? If that angle doesn't convince you enough that goal being chalked off was complete baloney, maybe this one will. Robbo, again, completely in Donnarumma's eye line. How's he possibly supposed to see where the ball is? I mean, Robbo, obviously completely in the way. How on earth is he supposed to see that ball? And if you're saying to me right now, oh, Tom, the goal wasn't disallowed for that. It was disallowed because Robbo was in the way of where Donnarumma wanted to dive. I mean, again, you're spot on. How on earth is Donnarumma supposed to dive over here when Robbo is stood maybe 2 or 3 yards in front of him? He's got no chance. There's no way that Donnarumma could ever have possibly dove for this ball as it came over to the corner of the goal. He was impeded beyond belief. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. This one should have stood. And looking back on it, it's actually hilarious how much muckery was in this game. We didn't have the muckery index at the time. Best believe if we had, it would have been as mucky as muckery can be. We move on. Now we see some more excellent Liverpool defending. Just look at our shape here. Defending a set piece. They've gone short with it. Look at the intensity of the boys. Salah and Cherky just having a little chat. Just chatting to one another, walking. Everybody else just not doing anything. Just stood there, chilling. The ball comes out to Gonzalez. He has a free shot. It deflects off Van Dijk, who made the most pathetic attempt to block the ball ever, and that can obviously be explained by the fact he's wearing the banana boots. It's no coincidence that he's played better since he changed them, by the way. In fact, minus the Bournemouth game, he was terrible in that one. And the third goal is another just cherry on top here. Look at the shape again. Nico O'Reilly just in acres of space. Salah doing a great job getting back and tracking him. Bradley doing a great job tucking in and being nowhere near. McAllister and Gravenberch doing a great job of being nowhere near the ball. Over it comes to Doku, who squares up Konate one-on-one and scores his only Premier League goal of the season. In fact, let me ask you, have a guess how many goals in the Prem Doku has scored in nearly 3 full seasons now at Man City. Just have a little guess. I'm going to tell you in a second. Have a little guess. Okay, have you all guessed? 7. He scored 7. 7 goals. Okay, this performance was an absolute phantom performance. But there we go, nonetheless. He curls this one in, no problem, doesn't he? Right in the top corner. That was Liverpool v City. It was an absolute mental game, and hopefully we play a lot better. But this was Spurs against City from the other week. So here's City in the first half doing what they do really, really well. You see the high line, really high, not giving Spurs any space. The whole game is being played within this short part of the pitch. And City really squeeze Spurs. Basuma wants too much time on the ball. Bernardo Silva sets the press really well, wins the ball. And City, who have improved a lot in a counter-attacking sense this season, they're much more dangerous on transition moments than ever before, really, under Guardiola. Shirky runs forward and goes one-on-one with Dragusin. He's completely two-footed, Shirky, so one to look out for. Takes it onto his right foot and hits a shot that sort of bobbles into the far corner. They go 1-0 up. And then again, City showing off their aggressive, high-level press, really boxing Spurs in. Dragusin has to try a really tough pass. It gets intercepted by Rodri. And then I don't know what Spurs are really doing, to be honest, but Rodri just plays this ball into Bernardo Silva, and he can just nudge it on to Semenyo, who is in. It's awful from Spurs, but good from City, and Semenyo just pops this one into the corner to give City, a 2-0 lead. And then you see here City playing their famed or unfamed high line. So Xavi Simons gets the ball there nice and high, but not high enough for City's liking. You see them, they're going to try and steal yards. Look at the body shape of all the defenders. Gehi's moved forward the most, but look at Kusanov, look at Nico O'Reilly. In fact, I've drawn that line the wrong way there. Trying their best to steal yards. Aït-Nouri as well. Trying to play Solanke offside. Doesn't work. He goes through. Yes, this is a free kick. It shouldn't have been given. The refs, once again, are their very best. But it doesn't matter. Solanke scored the goal, and that started Spurs' comeback. Again, Gehi's involved. He wins this header. And Conor Gallagher is going to come and win this ball. In the first half, I don't think this happens. This is City where they seem to lose concentration or intensity in the game. Gallagher just bursts through, wins the ball. I've always liked Conor Gallagher, to be honest. I don't think he's an amazing player, but I always quite liked him, and he's good at things like this. Wins the ball over two City players who I don't think would have let him do that in the first half. Gets into the crossing position, and obviously crosses this in for Solanke to then score a scorpion kick, because of course that would happen. But look at City just so exposed all of a sudden. They've got Odegaard running in, Solanke not really marked, Xavi Simons edge of the box not really marked, got another player coming in at the back post. They've just got a lot of options all of a sudden coming from nowhere in the game, and that's how quickly it can flip when you play City nowadays. If we manage to get through that first half, maybe with a lead, you've got to think that we've got a good chance in this game. So let's go and do Super 6 to finish off the preview for today. Right, okay, Super 6. We have not done very well at this recently, so this week is going to be the week. I am going to win all of the money, let me tell you. So Arsenal against Sunderland, you've got to think Arsenal are going to be heavy favourites in this one and are going to win. I'm going to go with a 2 or 3-0. 2 or 3-0, guys. 2 or 3-0. 2-0. 3-0. Oh my god, I don't know. Bournemouth and Villa. Tough one to call, this one. It really is. Emery's never beaten Iraola. Iraola's never beaten Emery. Maybe this is the week. Maybe this is the time he does it. I'm going to go with 2-1 to Bournemouth. Maybe we can make up some more ground on Villa. Wolves and Chelsea. Let's look. Everyone thinks Chelsea will win, obviously. I think they concede a goal. But I'm going to go with a 3-1 win for Chelsea there. Newcastle against Brentford. There's goals in this one. I don't think it'll be a 0-0. Quite fancy a 1-1, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe a Newcastle win. Maybe a Newcastle win, but I feel like another 2-1. 5:30, 3-1. The 5:30 is an extra goal for Newcastle. The crowd will be up for it. Brighton and Palace. Lots of people think Brighton will win. Palace have been really poor recently. I'm going to go... Can I do a draw? 2-2? Oh, I don't know this week, guys. I'm gonna go 2-1 to Brighton. And Liverpool v City. Well, let's see actually what people think. So most people think draw. I quite fancy us in this one, weirdly. I quite fancy us. 4:30, home again, on a bit of a good form run over the last couple of games. I fancy us. I'm gonna go with the mad one. I'm gonna go 3-2. I'm gonna go with the mad one. 5th minute. That is the win in Super 6 this week. I'm telling you, I can feel it in my bones. Alright, everybody, that is going to do it for today's video. I really do hope that you did enjoy it. And if you did, let's try and hit that like button to get to 30 likes on this video once again. We have been smashing that like target every video. I am very, very close to upping that like target. So if we can hit it again, maybe next time out, I will up that like target to 35 or 40 likes. So smash it again for me, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. And if you did enjoy it and you are new around here, please do click that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers and we're ticking along nicely. So click subscribe if you did enjoy today's video. And if next week you want to see me go blonde on Thursday. Remember that one. Any videos past Thursday next week, I will be blonde. Unbelievably so. Podcast listeners, thanks for listening. As always, 5-star rating and reviews. We appreciate you guys just as much as the YouTube viewers as well. Guys, I'll be back on Sunday for the match ratings for this game, of course. They will be up on Sunday evening. Until then, I hope everyone has a really good weekend. Again, thank you very much for watching the preview. Have a good Friday night, Saturday night, and hope for a Liverpool win. Thanks for watching, everyone. Goodbye.